Hey guys, I was encouraged to do level 4 stage 5 of Sky Trail, so I potted up a bit and adjusted things. I filled up my awakening points and I'm giving it a go. I actually failed an attempt before the one I'm showing here. I just didn't want to put in too many failed attempts into this video just because I feel like some of these PvE ones can get kind of bulky if I let them go too long. So here I just want to adjust a little bit, do 5-6 moves in Sylph mode, and then get out. I think I stretched it out a little bit too much in the attempt before, and so just needed to adjust a little bit. And using my Electro Sylph, I think if I were to use Dark here, even though it helped me be more comfortable resistance-wise, so because I'm cutting it close, like terribly close here. I just barely make it to this heal. I actually think that something went wrong there because I pressed AFK mode and I think the heal didn't go through because maybe I tried to do the heal, but whatever it was, I hit an illusion and it was okay. But I think Electro here is really ideal. I do have a bunch of dark crystals in right now, so resistances are super important. Having high resistance for the Sylph that you're using, so Electro ones, and as well as having resistance crystals against the boss resistance. And it would be easier to live here if I use my Dark Sylph. It's nice to have Devour Soul. I was talking to Ashiro, who just joined the Dolly Games team, and he was saying that he uses Gaia quite frequently because it helps with the heals. But I think as a mage, I should be able to figure out some heal management to be able to get into this. So got that. Got an A ranking. I think it would be very hard for me to not get to get an S ranking just because he deals so much damage to me. So here I'm just switching up my crystals. My resistances are really pretty nice. I have 3 level 7s and 2 level 6s for my dark, which is my highest set of resistances. So I decided to just switch those over to water, which is the next boss. Just wanted to go over that. I think I skip it in the rest of the video, putting all this stuff in. But I do go through each time for each of the elements and try to do this. And as well as just set yourself up for success with Sky Trail. Do it when you're willing to pot up if you need pots, and change your resistances if you really need it. And really only the earlier levels. Once it starts getting really tough, I think you have to do all of these things. As well as I don't show here, but I did a round of building up my awakening and building up my rage. So against this water one, the resistance has really helped when I was going through and building up my my rage. I did it before I changed my resistances to water, and it really hurt, so I knew that I really needed to make that change. And so here dealing the damage is usually not an issue against a water boss just because I have an Electro Sylph, but even then if my water resistance isn't good enough, it can hurt a lot. I experienced that against the earlier water boss in level 4 as well. Got a little heal rune here. When I don't have too many survivability issues, I just go ahead and use heal and brutality. We can't use Mire here anymore, so it just makes it that much harder to beat these Sky Trail levels. And this is usually how I set up my skills for PvE things. If you have more issues with heals and stuff, some people do, I think, instead of where I have Damnation, they would have a Blessed Light, but for me, I feel like if I have to heal that much, chances are I'm not going to be able to deal enough damage anyway. So I thought maybe I would get an S ranking here, but it turns out that I don't. Damage taken was just a little bit too high. but not the end of the world. My BR is kind of high here. You know, I am potted up here, and I think I switched out my deflection and my guardian angel for defenses, just because I feel like those two aren't that helpful in here anyway. Guardian Angel isn't bad for archers and for knights, but for mages, it reduces our chance for crit heals, so that's not always the greatest thing in PvE situations. Here's the fire boss, and actually he seemed less problematic than level 4 stage 5. The water was also much easier. So that's a normal progression, is that stage 5 tends to be harder than at least a couple of the ones that end up coming after it. But the next one, the wind bosses are always rough, and the Electro ones aren't as bad, I would say. But I would say the wind, dark, and light bosses always seem to be a bit of a challenge. Really enjoy using Hercules for this type of stuff. There's going to be a new Necropolis type of deal eventually, and I'm looking forward to that, and I think Hercules will be really useful. Otherwise, I think either a Dark Pet or Cerberus is probably the next best alternative. Dark Pet just because it has Devour Soul, and that is just so incredibly useful. It's kind of like a bloodthirsty type of skill, and it just makes the Sylph mode so much less dangerous. And I think Cerberus is like a slightly worse version of Hercules for this type of stuff. Big crit there, and that helps me get an S ranking. So yeah, just made it, and that was pretty nice. Though I'm a little bit sad that I just got that S ranking on a fire boss when a recent video of mine is doing the Amazon Queen to Cerberus refinement. So I could have probably done this before that, but it's okay. So here's my first attempt at level 4 stage 8. And it's really difficult and pretty miserable with Hercules. I'd actually intended just not to do any attempt with Hercules because I thought I was going to die too easily. But I gave it a go, and just because I had built up the awakening with this Sylph anyway. But it hits really hard. I do have my resistances changed here, so even though I have reduced resistance to wind because I'm using Hercules, using an Electro Pet, I do have a bunch of wind resistances, at least from crystals. But here, it's just too much of a fight to even live. Throwing out all the heals that I can, and it just doesn't help that much. He does bleed, but the bleed is not actually the issue. It's just how much damage he deals. The bleed is, I think, only 4k. So I make another go of it, and first I try out the Dark Bet. So here's Gaia. I do a similar lead in all of these, which is, you know, just using Damnation and going into Sylph. Sometimes I use Damnation and Centauria and go into Sylph. But again, yeah, here's the Devour Soul. I take damage and it just comes right back. Sometimes, you know, you want to let yourself take a little bit of damage before you use the Delphic, just because one of the passives for the Dark Sylphs is, you know, the more damage that you take, the more damage you deal. I think it's like a 3% increase for every 10% HP you've lost. So it's not a bad deal. I really enjoy Centauria in these situations. Centauria actually gives a ton of healing. It might not be as much as a crit heal, but it's definitely more than a regular restore would give. And And so for that reason, I really enjoy it. It gives like a little bump every single turn, and so yeah, it's a great heal. In retrospect, I'm not sure how much I should have been healing. Maybe I should have just tried to attack and then heal back up using Gaia. But even so, I think this one's gonna be tough. Once I get my rewards from Hall of Fame, which are supposedly coming on the 10th, but again, never really setting high expectations for Wartune giving out events in a timely manner. But yeah, so 1 bar to go on this one. And the very final attempt that I made, I took off my Guardian rune and used Medusa, and the logic being just that maybe I can, you know, get away with using a brutality and not have to guard myself as much, just because I'll have so much wind resistance with Medusa on, and so I give this a shot as well. The big problem by using Medusa on my part is just because I have the skill that gives my entire team a 30% damage increase, which is great, but just I don't have any 1 second or really low time cooldowns, and so that makes it really hard in PvE situations. She's a really fantastic sylph for things like TOK and for group arena, and I like having her in my sylph arena team and things like that. But just in single PvE, it's pretty miserable. I just thought it was worth 1 shot. I actually still take a lot of damage with this sylph on. So my heal rune, I think it's at level. I think at the time of recording this it was a level 2, so it was a level 2 advanced rune, so it's about 34%, so about a third of my health. So it's really pretty nice. A maxed out heal rune gives a 50% heal, which is ridiculous. It's like a Spire. It is a Spire rune, basically. The same thing that you would get from Spire, which is pretty amazing in its own right. So it's gonna be very scary when all the knights start having 50% heals. But knights don't get a Guardian rune, so I guess that's pretty unfortunate in its own right. So I tried to get this Delvic in, not that it was gonna really matter, but there she blows. So I gave it a go. That's all I could do, and so at least I tried. I tried just about anything I could. So thanks for watching, you guys. Take care and have a very good day.